Welcome to the Post Shift Podcast, your raw look at the hospitality industry, brought to you by SHC. What is happening, Post Shifters? Welcome back to another episode of the Post Shift Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Shawn Soole. This week, I want to talk about something that's going to have to happen to a lot of distilleries, breweries, and wineries here in the province, and restaurants, for matter of fact, and that's e-commerce. I think e-commerce is still being seen as this separate section of revenue that is basically, if I get 15-20% of my sales out of e-commerce, my Shopify store, whatever, online, I'm happy with that. I think everybody got a rude awakening when COVID first hit and lockdowns happened, when all your OP accounts stop ordering and your retail sort of slows down as well. I know retail bounced back, but online ordering was more important than ever. And online ordering in e-commerce is going to happen. If you believe that people are still going to come to your tasting room and experience you that way in the next 5-10 years, I think you're a little bit romancing something that doesn't really exist anymore. E-commerce and online marketing was going to start happening in the next 2 to 5 years, just purely because of consumer convenience. And so it was something that I think, well, I shouldn't say I think, I know shocked a hell of a lot of distilleries and wineries when COVID hit, just the impact of what online sales and marketing does for your business. So really, we're going to talk about not if it happens, but when a second lockdown comes. I do believe we're on a road to a second lockdown later in this year, early next year. And really, this is the time to start strategizing with your online platform marketing and e-commerce. A couple of weeks ago, I did a podcast with my partner, Christoph, for Exemplar LM, based around online marketing and e-com and stuff. And it was pretty in depth. And I got a lot of comments from distilleries saying that they couldn't quite follow it as much as they would have liked to. So I want to sort of break down a little bit down to layman's terms, e-commerce and Shopify for a lot of people. And that starts with the fact that you should look at Shopify store or your e-commerce platform as another style of brick and mortar, and you should be using it the same way as well. So what do I mean by that? A lot of people put up a Shopify store and think they're done, and bing, bang, boom, done. But they wouldn't treat their brick and mortar store like that. That's basically like saying, how do I have people discover my e-commerce store, my Shopify platform? If it was a brick and mortar, would you put it down a back alley behind 3 fences and have a secret password? Unless you're a speakeasy, obviously that would work. But if you're a winery or a distillery, and that's basically what happens to a lot of these Shopify stores, they're dislinked or disconnected from the original websites. They don't really fit with the websites whatsoever. And what happens is they become undiscoverable through Google. And Google, you have to think of as like your city. Google is the city. Your platform is your brick and mortar store. If those two things don't talk, or you don't have a way to connect that message, all that's going to happen is you're going to end up with people not being able to find your Shopify store and it being disconnected and not working properly. And you shouldn't be shocked, but you'd be shocked at how many distilleries right now and wineries don't have a successful online platform to sell their product. This is something that just it blows my mind, that the level of misunderstanding that people have when it comes to these sort of platforms is staggering. So, how do you use your Shopify platform for your benefit? Just because you have a Shopify platform and you've set up your e-commerce, whether it be through Wix or WordPress, I know Squarespace is a pretty decent e-commerce platform now too. It's how you use the information that comes through. How many sales you're losing. And these are all things that you would track normally in your brick and mortar store. How many people come in? Long weekends are going to be busy. How many people leave without purchasing anything? How many people do tastings? How many people come in for cocktails if you have a tasting lounge? So on and so forth. These are all things you would track for a brick and mortar store, but it seems like people don't bother tracking it when it's their online platform. So you're treating something as that you should be really looking at and going, I can really pull some solid information from that. How many people had abandoned checkouts? Do you have a checkout reminder for those people so they can come back and finish off their purchase? Where are they buying it from? Are they male? Are they female? What are the demographics on that purchase? All these things, because then that information you can use for strategies for marketing. Like, a lot of people just go, oh, I want to do a Facebook ad for this demographic in this area, but without really anything backing that up as to why. Shopify and your e-commerce platforms can really show you that. As same thing, like if we're going to talk about breaking it down to like more tangible things, if you track all your sales to liquor stores, you can advertise around those liquor stores to make sure people go and buy from those liquor stores, and then you get a second purchase. So it's all information that you should be tracking as a business anyway, but when it comes to online, everybody just assumes they've got an online store and they're good to go. And it really is far, far worse than that. Far worse. Well, it is usually far worse than that, but you can use this information as a tool to get more people, to get more customers, and that sort of thing. If this second lockdown happens and your e-commerce store is not ready to go, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, because brand equity is super important right now. This goes for restaurants as well. If you're not thinking about how to do a takeout delivery service coming that second lockdown, you may not survive. Like, a lot of people complain that they can't survive now with the current state of things. But if you can't set yourself up for an online ordering platform for the second lockdown and keep your brand equity high, you're in a lot of trouble. And it's something that I think people are really, I know everybody's focusing on being reopened and getting people through the door and stuff like that, but I think you really need to start thinking about what happens if we have a second lockdown. So that's my sort of lay way of talking about how to utilize e-commerce to your best possible way. It's something I'm super passionate about now. I'm doing a lot of work in this field with my partners, and so it's something that I really wish that people would take seriously. Like, do not become the Toys R Us. So if you've ever heard the Toys R Us story, when e-commerce first became a thing, Toys R Us farmed out all their online sales to Amazon. The reason why Amazon became one of the biggest online selling platforms in the world is companies like Toys R Us went to them and just gave them the sales. And then Amazon's like, well, we can just do this ourselves directly with the supplier, not through you. And that was pretty much the death knell for fucking Toys R Us. And so don't be a Toys R Us. Seriously look at your e-commerce. How are you gathering information on who's buying, where they're buying from, so on and so forth, and figure out a way that you can maximize what you do online to completely revolutionize your sales platform. So that's my little 2 cents this Tuesday, post-shift shot. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I'll chat to you really soon. Thanks always for the support. Bye. Thanks for listening, Post Shifters. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I really enjoy sitting down with friends and peers and just chatting about the industry and getting down to the nuts and bolts of what's really going on out there. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, everything on all the platforms. Just hit it up and I'll do my best to answer any queries or questions you have. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.